And yeah, it's all right. It happens, dude. That's why I said just send it when you can. So when you take away players' ability to express themselves in a game, you get, and this is gonna, I mean, I kind of have been flaming Hashinshin a little bit, but again, I think he represents League on the whole. Like, I think he represents how people feel about the game. Hashinshin's mad because he feels like his identity as a player is being taken away. Now, I have my own opinions on whether or not his identity is all that complex, which is another debate for another time, right? But you cannot argue that when someone's identity is taken away and they cannot identify with anything, you got to be able to sexually identify as a champion, right? Like, that's basically what I'm saying here. You got to be able to identify sexually as a champion. Do you identify as a blob of goo, or do you identify as Garen for what they do? People know me for my Tryndamere, my Gangplank. That's what they know me for. People know me. They know when they see me play Tryndamere, they go, oh shit, this guy is really fucking good at Tryndamere. When this guy plays Gangplank, he's really good at Gangplank. He's really good at Twisted Fate. Because I sexually identify those champions. But what I'm saying is, the more that you take away players' ability to actually express themselves and differentiate themselves from one another, and a different problem that I don't think Riot's ever really touched on is how it feels when a champion comes out that does your job better than your champion. There's gotta be, I mean, Riot does a lot of like internal thinking and shit about what, you know, player pain points and all that nonsense, right? But imagine, right, you play a mean Jace or whatever, right? Just for the purposes of discussion. And or you know, whatever it is, and all of a sudden a fucking Gnar comes out. This is where I think Riot shits the bed. I think Riot shits the bed really hard, because they have something, they'll have a champion like Jace that does Jace things, and then they'll have a champion come along like Gnar, and it's like, why is Gnar, like, why is Gnar a champion? Like, I hate Gnar, because Gnar takes away so many players' identity. In one champion, if Gnar is viable, so many other players are left in the dust. So many players are left in the dust. If Gnar is viable, you have a cooldown based, range, percent shred, CC, lane bully, gap close, like, it's just, it's ridiculous, right? It's like absolutely ridiculous that champion exists. And right now, this meta is cancer in top lane, because Gnar is like perma-pick. Gnar is like in every game, right? They do this all the time. They, in the pro level, and this is probably a lot of where the top lane frustrations come from too, is where like, it's always one of these stupid fucking champs. It's always a Kennen, a Jace, a Gnar, or whatever the fuck. And when one champ crowds out the others, your identity just kind of disappears. It's like, you know, I used to play Kennen, but then Gnar came out, and Gnar is better than my Kennen. And look, this new Gnar main is winning way more than me, and I'm getting flamed for playing shitty Kennen. And then, you know, Kennen becomes better. It's the same thing back and forth. It's like, when players lose that identity, it's like when I used to play Nidalee mid, and Nidalee, they just took it away. Now, I didn't react the way Hashinshin did, right? Because to be fair, I don't think I really understood League that much when it was like my first real season. But they just legit took my champion away. Well, I was like a Nidalee mid monster because I learned a lot from Bishu, who was also that way. And I was a Nidalee mid machine. And that shit just got scrapped. Like, it was gone. That was like my identity gone. And so I think League now is getting to this point where all the lines are getting blurred. And I know it's taken me a long time to get to this point, but all the lines are blurred where you don't really feel like you stand out anymore, man. You don't really feel like you have that much diversity in what you do. Every champion's got, you know, every champion's got all these different fucking tools that you have. And it's like, I can't really tell. I just don't, and it all goes back to the LCS too. It's like, I can't really get excited about anybody because no one's really standing out to me. Like, no one stands out. Remember back when people, and to be fair, people have gotten better at the game, but remember back when there was just so much different shit that people were coming up with. So much different play styles. You could turn into a stream and you could just see such a vast difference in what somebody was doing to compare it to everybody else. And now it's just like, the game, I think, is becoming more solved. The champion kits are becoming more like each other. The Riot keeps lowering the skill gap down. There's not as many creative options. Like, new runes are supposed to be like super creative and give you lots of leeway, but then nothing really is that new. Like, they literally were like, let's put Thunderlords in again. You know, like, let's try to put Storm Surge in again. Let's make Grasp again. Let's make Warlords. Let's bring Warlords back. It's like they didn't even like revamp. Really, when you think about it, they didn't really revamp much of anything. You know, so that's why all the lines feel like blurred. But, hey. That's just an old angry man's opinions on the state of League. You need identity. You need an ability or a way to say, you know why I like the Tryndamere Smite so much? It's because that's new. That's new identity. People have done it, but nobody was doing it. No one was doing that shit like I was. That's why I got so hype about it. It's not even about whether or not it gets me to fucking Challenger or not. You know what I'm saying? And it has nothing to do with that.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
It's the fact that, like, I was able to create something that actually worked, that no one else was doing. And it was my own thing. And I created it within the framework of the game. And it actually works. And it feels like it kind of like breaks the game up a little bit. Changes the way that
Minions have spawned.
that the game runs out. That's nice. That's good shit. And there should be more of that. More ways to differentiate yourself.